Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Night Luke Live Online. This is session number 27, and I'm Father James DeLucio with the Paulists here in the library of our rectory in New York City. We're continuing our exploration of Jesus' Sermon on the Plain, chapter 6 of Luke's Gospel, where everyone is standing shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye, right there with Jesus. That's exactly where he wants us, focusing on our down-to-earth common humanity. Last week we went through verses 37 to 42, or at least I thought I was, but I actually skipped two of the verses in the middle there because now I have senior moments. So I thought I'd insert them for you. Last week, if you recall, we had those powerful, powerful exclamations from Jesus. Stop judging, stop condemning, forgive, give. And then he says, stop noticing the splinter in your brother or sister's eye. You have to do the self-scrutiny, take the beam out of your own. Right in the middle of that, between the stop judging, stop condemning, forgiving, and give, and the splinter in your brother or sister's eye, he says, and then he told them a parable. Can a blind person lead a blind person? Will they not both fall into the pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple is like the teacher. Now, why would Jesus insert that in his strong statements about coming down to earth, being humble, having self-scrutiny? Because he knows human nature. And he knows right away that we start thinking, well, wait, stop judging, stop condemning. I got to speak out against wrong. What's going on here? He's saying, look, don't you know me? Blind people lead blind people astray. I know what I'm talking about. My eyes are wide open. So he's asserting his authority right in the middle of this because he knows how difficult stop judging, stop condemning, forgiving, giving. Again, it's just another reiteration of do unto others. Because when we're accused, we want someone to understand us. We want someone to hear our side, even when we know we're wrong. We still want someone, but don't you understand? So stop judging and stop forgiving. Says, yes, I do understand. And I also know that what you did or what you said was wrong. So we'll continue. I won't make the judgments, but I'll support you in correcting the damage that is done. So Jesus says, you might think this doesn't make sense. It's more comfortable to go for the jugular. And he's saying, look, I really do. My eyes are open. I became fully human. I'm fully human. Like you, I put myself through all the temptations. And we would have liked that to be a full book all on its own, wouldn't we have? Aren't we funny? I've been through all the temptations, and I'm sure I got the irrational thoughts that all of us get too, that seem to come out of nowhere. And we think, oh, how could I ever? It's not our fault. Irrational thoughts, they just pop in. It's just what you do with them, And you say, oh, hi, Jesus, I got these ridiculous thoughts today, but you are with me, and now all will be well, and all will be well, and all will be well. And then he says, no disciple is superior to the teacher, because he also knows the trap. He does know us so well. When we're doing all the Bible studies, we're taking adult education classes, we're going to church often, right away. We're excelling, and we're forgetting that excelling in faith is surrendering. It's humbling. It's not exalting. Jesus does the exalting. He says, the humble will be exalted, but we don't exalt ourselves. Darn, that's so against the grain of our society, is to achieve and let others admire us, which again is very human. We all need people to admire and be grateful for things we do. We do. But like our culture, it can go to an excess. and excess. So we don't want to do that, right? So that's what he says. We're not the teacher. When we're fully trained, we're like the teacher, which means we can be Christ-like, but there's still a Christ, the Christ, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So there's so much surrendering in the spiritual path. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that all the time. It's a surrendering, it's a humbling. That's the only way we really can be at peace. And that's what prayer is supposed to do for us, just to bring us on that peace. You are in control. I'll do what I can, but I can't control the situation. I can and I will make my contribution because you gave me these interests and talents. But I have to place everyone and the situation more in your hands. That's how the Spirit can really help us make the right decision at the right time. Right judgment. That's part of that Holy Spirit prayer. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful. Enkindle in us the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit so we shall be recreated, and you shall renew the face of the earth, implying through us. And God who fills the hearts of the faithful with the light of the Holy Spirit, grant by that same Spirit that we might receive right judgment in all things and rejoice in the Spirit's consolation. It's interesting. We get the right judgment, the inspiration to do the right thing, to say the right thing, not so all things will work for by our intent, but that we will have the consolation of the Spirit, that we've done the best that we can. And there's still a bigger picture. God gives freedom of choice, free will to everybody, and we have to keep surrendering patiently to allow things to unfold. So important. And that's why Jesus inserted those things. So what do you think of that? I will do a little more, just verses, let's see, what are they? 43 to 45. They follow, and it's a nice little conclusion, I think, to just what we're talking about. A good tree does not produce rotten fruit, nor does a good tree produce rotten fruit. Every tree will be known by its own fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person out of a store of goodness in his or her heart produces good. An evil person out of a store of goodness produces evil. For from the goodness of the heart, the mouth speaks. Cultivating the proper interiority, knowing that actions and words are important, and our faith needs to be evidenced, not by how much we're praying, but how we're living. How we're living, all the while surrendering to the great teacher, so we don't get bloated, in our minds. I was counseling somebody the other day. The person was so down on the person's self. Yeah, I don't want to reveal if it was male or female. I do not. So, and I thought we can all fall into that, being so down on ourselves. But part of it is the ego. We're not recognizing that we have limitations, that the teacher, the Christ, is superior to us. We can be like, but not. So I thought, gee, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to outshine Jesus? Do we want to be more perfect than the Blessed Virgin Mary? Talk about delusions of grandeur. It's food for thought. That's enough thought for today. So, thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to be with you. Next week we will conclude the Sermon on the Plain with the last verses of the chapter 6 and a song to go with them if you're up for it. That will be next Tuesday. Meanwhile, join me Friday nights for Young at Heart, available both on Facebook and on YouTube. Father James DeLuzio signing off. Have a good night, everyone.